Building a new presentation. I'm going to demonstrate how to build a presentation from scratch. The presentation will start simple and over a series of videos will build up to something quite functional. My scenario is to build a sales presentation for the global management team. I'm starting in my training workspace. I recommend you build reports and presentations from a development type of workspace. That way you can deploy when you're ready. I'm going to call this presentation Global Sales. I want the richest possible experience for the presentation, so I'm going to choose Desktop. I'm presented with my empty presentation. The next thing I need to do is now build some pages or add pages to my presentation. For now, I'm going to create a dashboard styled page. These pages consume all available space on the screen, large or small. I also want to encourage interaction, so I'll have to consider what that means. I'm going to choose Dashboard. As my presentation is for all of my companies, I'm going to call this first page Overview. I'm presented with an empty page with one pane on it. The next stage I need to do is now add a report. First thing I want to do is I need to see some numbers. I want to see profit margins for each company. As I want to get something new into this presentation page, I have to click on the new icon in the ribbon. I'm presented with data visualization options. I know I want more than a single figure. I know I want to see a list of companies and their profit margin, so I'm going to choose a list. I'm also going to give this report a title, which is simply Profit by Company. Next decision I have to make is where is the report going to get its data from. In this case I know I have got sales figures in my sales cube, so I shall choose my sales cube. I'll choose the table from the sales cube I want the data to come from. Again, I know customer invoice lines happens to have the margin that I need. Building a report, I need to determine the fields I want in my report. I know there are some things I like. I'd like the company code. I know I'd like the company name. I'd also like to get the margin. I can see here I have the customer contribution margin. That's the column I'd like to go and get that margin for each company. I've got 3 columns so far in my report: the company code, the company name, and the margin. Getting these sorts of figures, I know I'd like to see some additional things such as cost of goods sold and maybe total sales. So I'm going to search for some more fields. I'm going to search for costs. So I have my cost of goods sold I'd like to select, and last I'd like to add my total sales. The column names here aren't particularly user-friendly, so I'm going to double-click and just rename each one. I shall call this company. And what I'd like to do is I'll just have total sales first, followed by COGS. Now I have a margin. So I'll go next, and I'll insert my report. So there we have, in my simple report, I have a list of companies, their names, total sales, cost of goods sold, and their margin. I want to do another couple of things with this. I notice I'd like to have some totals on this, particularly the margin and total sales. So I'm just going to add some totals here. Refresh. And now I have totals at the bottom of my screen. So here I have one report. I shall now save my presentation. I go back to my presentation hub, you can see I have one page in that presentation. Back to my hub, I now have a global sales presentation. In here I have the basis of my first report.